Hello guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Areli. I'm Raw.Eli.K in Instagram, and I'm a physician and I'm a raw foodist. We have my friend Shane.
Hi, my name is Shanesterling and I do Raw Vegan Rising here on YouTube. And we're meeting today to mastermind together, to meet each other. We've been communicating on social media, and Areli is such an inspiring human being, and she has made such a huge difference in my life. All my posts that she comments on just make me feel so good. And so we have met today for the first time
meeting.
Coming together to be a vision and a voice for raw food and bring the raw food message here on both of our YouTube channels.
Exactly. So we're just having this conversation, random, addressing why it is important for humanity to adopt this lifestyle, and we want to encourage every one of you that are watching why we believe that this will save us. Don't you think?
Yeah, well, we both have been 100% raw for almost a year. Well, a year for me and 10 months for you.
10 months and 2 weeks.
10 months and 2 weeks. So we've been talking before we hit record on this video about how much of a difference raw food has made in our life.
Right.
And how much inspiration we have found, and new direction and vision for our future. And it's like shed layers of our past and pain and trauma, and like allowed us to kind of step into a whole new version of ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
More vision for our life.
Yes, more light. I just feel inspired. I just feel energized all day long. I don't know what to do with so much energy that sometimes can be overwhelming. But if I focus that energy into the things that I love, it's transformative. Like, I've been able to be creative so much, and yeah, it was a transitional phase for me, probably the first months, but now I'm more like, this is the fuel that I needed to be empowered and to feel, powerful, basically. And
powerful.
And it's not just a feeling, it's that I know that I am.
Yeah, that's right. Know that you are powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. She's come all the way from San Francisco today up to the North Bay to meet me, and that just shows how much power and vision that you really have, and it's really inspiring, actually.
Thank you. Well, you drove to South a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
We met. I guess this is a good message for the public. Like, when you want something, you just make it happen.
Yeah,
right?
You go for it.
You go for it.
Yeah, and it's hard to always go for it when we're held back by low energy and low inspiration, and we don't know how to manifest our dreams. We don't know how to manifest anything in our life. Say we work a full-time job and we can't pay the rent and can't pay the bills, and we get down on ourselves, and our self-esteem suffers.
Yes.
Our self-worth suffers, and we don't know how to communicate effectively. This is where raw food comes in, because I think if we clear our minds, clear our bodies with a raw vegan diet, like Areli was saying, we have more energy to focus on our vision.
Yes.
And that's what's happened in my life. I've changed careers since going 100% raw. I've changed careers. I have been had so much energy that I've started new projects. I've started going to the gym every day because I have so much energy. I have to go to the gym. So then we have all the benefits of for me, strength training, and like what that means for my well-being, my state of mind, and like the balance in my body. It's amazing. So what we're talking about here is really that raw food is a solution. It's a solution to low energy and low inspiration in life.
Yes.
And not knowing how to get what you want out of life.
I think it's the perfect medicine. Me being a physician, there's a place for medicine. Don't take me wrong. I really appreciate having the opportunity to have trained in medicine. You can save lives in emergency situations. You can prescribe antibiotics, which is controversial because it kills your microbiome and all that stuff. Yes, but you recover it. If you are dying with a severe infection because you were in war, probably that's when antibiotics came, to solve people dealing with these tremendous infections. But that's medicine has its place in emergency situations, in prevention. I guess there is a lot of focus on that, and I think raw food is a perfect preventive medicine.
Mm.
So I guess everybody's talking about plant-based, but I just want to emphasize that plant-based can have so much meaning, so many meanings, and people are sometimes confused. Oh, I can be plant-based, but you know what? Probably if you eat like I don't know, pizza, the bread in the pizza is plant-based, right? Because the flour came from wheat, and wheat is a plant. But we're not talking about that. I guess within the plant-based spectrum, the raw food is the more, I don't know, it's the best option for you if you really want to prevent diseases, improve your energy levels, feel great about yourself, weight loss. There's so many benefits.
Oh yeah, I mean weight loss. Everybody's got a couple extra pounds to lose, right? I mean that's a good entry point is
Yes,
weight loss.
that sells.
Yeah, but then you realize quickly, I mean, as you start to adopt a raw food diet, how much toxicity you have in your body and the biofilms that accumulate, the plaques inside our veins and our arteries. On a raw food diet, you get better circulation,
Yes.
which leads to like more metabolism. And so you're naturally able to just kind of burn more calories, I believe, because
Right.
our internal metabolic system kind of speeds up and becomes more invigorated. And the plaque and the mucus in our intestinal tract comes out, and it gives our body more absorption of our minerals and nutrients and vitamins. And I always hear meat eaters talking about how they're iron deficient. That's the craziest thing for me is I hear it all the time being on social media that people say, I can't eat a plant-based diet because I'm iron deficient. That is malabsorption.
Right.
When you strip out the mucus out of your GI tract and you strip out the biofilms out of your veins on a mucusless diet of fruit and vegetables, you over time then start to absorb better, so you will not be anemic on a plant-based diet. It's a misnomer. It's confusion to think that we get iron from animal sources. We get iron from the green leafy vegetables, but we have to heal our biology.
Exactly. It's not everything is about food. You have to give your body the time, I guess, to detoxify. I am a physician, and many people in the medical community say that detox is a fake term. It's a fake, yes.
Yeesh.
They don't accept it. But you have to think about our body is the perfect machine that is detoxifying itself every single second, every day. Our biggest organ, which is the liver, detoxifies us every second. Even if you eat standard American diet, sodas, pizza, pasta, you name it, donuts, your liver is dealing with a burden of toxic materials. But when we talk about raw food, what we mean by detoxing our bodies, helping our bodies to detox, is you give your body a rest that actually uses that energy from the raw living foods to actually make our organs work better. And we are not burden our liver with all that toxicity. And yes, detox is happening. It's kind of like a selling term for probably some herbs or powders, in the commercial world. But I guess nothing is better than raw foods and clean eating for helping the body actually do the function of detoxifying. Obviously, the raw food helps because it's full of enzymes, full of water, full of minerals, nutrient-dense food, living food. And obviously that's the state we want to pursue to be, so our organs can function and do the detox. So I think I'm being redundant here, but I just want to emphasize that.
Detox is real.
It's real.
Very real.
It's real.
I actually detoxed for, I think, about 3 months total.
Right.
I had flu-like symptoms. I had running nose. Here I am 3 months in on a 100% raw diet, and I'm waking up with like dripping mucus out of my sinuses every day, sneezing, itchy eyes, aches and pains in my body. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. I was already like 3 months in and having these type of detox symptoms. And it passed, which shows me that as my lymphatic system starts to cleanse and flush the toxins, that I'm literally able to, that these toxins had to come out, and then I'm free of the toxins. And I haven't had any detox symptoms since. I haven't had any colds or flus. I've felt 100% amazing since my detox phase, which really lasted about 3 months. And now 1 year in, it's phenomenal. It feels the best like health of my life.
And I think it really helped you being vegan for so long, right? Before becoming Raw.
Yeah.
How long you been vegan?
Yeah, I went vegan at 17 years old, which was
That's amazing.
28 years ago. I'm
That's
45 now.
So you can, I mean, even though I think I look better than myself a few years ago, you can tell that Shane is a little bit more vibrant because he's been eating clean for so many years, even as a vegan, which is, there's nothing wrong for being vegan, but we just want to encourage vegans that there is something more, right? Beyond
that's right.
veganism.
Yeah, being vegan is the first start, but it's not. The sun is kind of like shining on me here. I'm going to move it like a little closer.
Okay.
Being vegan is an amazing start. I had 7 years into a vegan diet, I had a spiritual awakening experience, and I believe that it was the time away from meat and dairy and eggs that allowed my body to start to cleanse out in a way that allowed me to connect with the divine source, and it like woke me up. I had a massive spiritual awakening experience that changed my life, and that was 7 years on a vegan diet. But again, transitioning to a raw diet, I'm having another level of spiritual awakening. I mean, I'm really literally experiencing it, changing my focus in life, changing career paths, being service oriented toward humanity. I want to create systems to help people come up out of despair. I want to show people how to do it through my own leadership and through my own example, that we don't have to be locked down into systems of control and depression and anxiety and poverty, but that we have so much power within ourselves to rise up, clear our minds, become inspired by life, become invigorated by life. And raw food has helped me do that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Definitely. When I was in medical school, I wasn't eating. I mean, that was, we were talking about 2002 to 2008 when I was in medical school. And I was eating normal, standard American diet, which it wasn't that bad at all, but it included egg, milk. That was my staple. I went into vegetarianism at the end of medical school, and that really helped me to clean myself up a little bit more. But the real transformational changes, I think I explained that in one of my videos, came when I left the dairy. There is a huge step for any of you vegetarians that are trying to probably level up your journey in your health. There is definitely not a good stuff. The calcium, many people argue about calcium. I think calcium is like everywhere in our diets, right? The leafy greens, fruit has calcium, nuts and seeds have calcium. I don't even worry about calcium. I don't even worry about iron. But if you have malabsorption, as Shane was saying, obviously that's gonna make things a little bit difficult, and that's why people really condemn the vegan diet and the vegetarian diet, because they group all this plant-based movement together. And let's make it clear, there's a big difference being just cooked vegan, junk vegan, and raw vegan. It's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
I think it's better if you eat raw meat, if you're a carnivore.
I agree. If I was going to eat meat, it would be raw meat. And, carnivores eat the skin, the tendons, the intestines, and they go for the muscle meat last. If you watch how carnivores eat, they go for the intestines first, where all the plant nutrition is.
Exactly.
They go for the plant nutrition first, and they eat the muscle meat last.
Yeah, I remember those documentaries in National Geographic. The lions are basically with this bloody zebra, and the rib cage are open, but they're focusing on the intestines.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're there. And then they came what's the name of these wild dogs that are
hyenas?
Yes, the hyenas came at the end, and all these birds.
The vultures.
The vultures. Yeah, sorry, English is not my first language, so I have to. But yes, they use, the lions go for the fiber, the green pasture, probably.
Because they're carnivores, they have to kill for survival.
Right.
They have to eat the zebra for survival. But really, they're going for the plant matter in the intestines first. How about that? That's crazy. That's because all living things need the first level of nutrition which is plants.
Yeah.
The second level of nutrition is muscle and meat.
Exactly.
It's a secondary source of energy and protein.
Yeah.
And animals that do, real carnivores that do eat meat, have to eat meat for survival. They certainly don't cook it.
Well, we don't want to promote eating raw meat for sure, but it's just to address the importance of raw food. Even, the lions, all the wild animals eat their prey raw. They don't cook it. So our anatomical and physiological design is not entirely designed, again, for eating meat. We don't have those nails to rip the skin of animals. I mean, if we didn't have any tools by our own means, our fragile nails and teeth, we wouldn't be eating a chicken.
No, definitely not. We'd be eating mangoes on the tree and grapes
We are
and melons growing on the vines on the ground. Easy, nutritious food right there growing.
Exactly. And many will argue that, but that's how our Neanderthal ancestors survived. That's how, look at the Eskimos. They eat a lot of, fish and...
Yeah, fish and seal blubber and whale blubber. Right? The fat and primarily animal-based diet. Well, 100% animal-based diet for the Inuit Eskimos. But what's interesting about Inuit Eskimos is they have the earliest life expectancy on the planet of any indigenous culture, with an average life expectancy of 55 years. And they die with bone density loss and arthritis.
Exactly. And this is, if you want to actually feed yourself as a caveman or follow the paleo diet or the ketogenic diet, look at the Eskimos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a quick fix for weight loss and looking great and all muscular in a short term of period. I mean, you don't see the consequences if you do it long term. For me, it's unimaginable to think people believe that this is a sustainable way of living, not only for the planet, but for your own systems, for your own economy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's sustainable at all.
Yeah, well, the number one thing to think about is from a raw vegan diet as opposed to a ketogenic diet or even a paleo diet is water content.
Oh, yeah.
Water content is completely, paleo and keto are devoid of water. The number one thing we need for life, to sustain life, the structured filtered water of fruits and vegetables sustain all metabolic function and cellular metabolism in our body. And a diet high in fat and animal products have no water and no fiber, and the two things you need to be healthy, water and fiber. So ketogenic diets are out. I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer, and paleo diets are out. It doesn't make any sense. So
No.
So here we are talking. We're talking about the real inspiration that we've found in a raw food lifestyle, and we both love that lifestyle. And we could talk about our personal beliefs around. We were talking about like our spiritual beliefs a little bit too, and we have a lot in common in our spiritual beliefs. And I think that's an important aspect too, is like what our spiritual connection is in life. How we think that spirituality works, or are you religious? Is anyone here watching this video religious? Because having a sense of connection to the divine or a higher power is really a critical component of being healthy, being happy and well adjusted to life. So I think it's an important topic. Do you want to share like what your spiritual beliefs are a little bit?
Sure. I think this can be touchy subject for some people, but I don't want you to take it in the wrong way. If you're a Christian, fine. If you're a Hindu, fine. If you're atheist, fine. If you're Catholic, Buddhist, it's fine. I think the commonality of all this religion is love, right? Love to God and love to your neighbor. I think that's the main principle. And even though I was raised Christian and I strongly believe in that principle and that philosophy for life, I think now that I'm not religious, meaning not affiliated to any organization, any institutionalized religion system, I think those principles transcend to all the philosophies out there. And now talking about spirituality, I think if you love yourself, if you love the wholeness of the universe and how all of us are interconnected. That way you will never feel the need, or it will never cross your mind to harm someone else, starting with yourself, starting with your neighbor, starting with animals, because those are our neighbors. I really hate the anthropocentrism, where I forgot the terminology for that, but it's basically that in the pyramid of hierarchies in the world, man is at the top and the animals are at the bottom. We are actually in a circle. We're not superior to anybody else. So yeah, raw food has helped me to really not understand this, but grasp it and actually embody this belief, because I think, like you, we don't need to harm anybody to thrive as a species.
Definitely. I believe that wholeheartedly myself.
Yeah.
Very well said, and I really appreciate your perspective on that. I agree 100%. And my kind of take on it is, to elaborate specifically my perspective, is that we're all related. We actually share 95% DNA with every other living creature on the planet. 95% DNA. So we're literally related to every other animal on the planet through DNA. But we're eating our relatives, and then we have psychological consequences because of that. We're not supposed to eat our relatives. We're supposed to be in harmony with the fabric of reality, that where everything is connected as one. And that's what I was saying earlier to Aurelie, that I believe that we affect the fabric of reality with our innate being. Who we were born as affects all around us, everything around us. It's like a fabric. You can poke it and it will ripple. And then our thoughts, of course, are things, and our thoughts affect reality. And the universal laws and the law of attraction means that what we think, we put out into the fabric of reality, and then we get that back. So we have to think positive thoughts of compassion and kindness and benevolence, and then we create kindness, compassion, and benevolence in the world. If we want to live in a world free of poverty, free of slavery, free of inequality and racism and speciesism, then we need to embrace benevolence, kindness, and compassion. And I'll tell you, raw food is going to do it to you, whether you know anything about nonviolence or compassion at all. You start a raw food diet, and 1 year later, you're going to be stripped of all aggression, anger, emotional pain, traumas, and the concepts of nonviolence and poverty and slavery start to really become clear, that we have so much control over how we affect the world through the fabric of reality. And that's like a spirituality for me. That's like a religion in itself. It's like a way to practice on a day-to-day basis. It's a devotion, a devotional practice through how we eat, how we think, and how we respond in the world. So that's
awesome. Yeah. I totally believe that. And talking about reality creation, I think the raw food has allowed me to open my mind and expand my belief system and actually believe in myself. I just was talking to Shane and telling him that I just started my first YouTube videos, and I was hesitant in the past because I never thought someone like me would be able to communicate its message to the world. But now that I see myself in the video, because I see it, and we are our biggest critics. I see it and I think, wow, that was great. I mean, modesty aside, not showing off or pretending that I did a great job. I always think that there is room for improvement, and I'm sure that we're gonna improve in our journeys, being vloggers or YouTubers or messengers of this.
Messengers.
That's
what I always say. Hey, I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger.
Exactly. I think that raw food has helped me to develop this, or to feel more confident. Just because.
Yeah, you were saying, what is it that didn't allow you to feel confident? You're woman, minority.
Oh yeah, all my life. Yes, I think nobody is a minority and nobody should feel inferior. Everybody is unique and special, and everybody has their own contribution to the world, and never let yourself be minimized or put down by anyone, because that person that is doing that to you is talking from their own insecurity, right? So once you learn that, I mean, definitely not just the diet helps you, being a nice person, doing the right thing, being respectful, just being a good human being to begin with, is gonna allow you to actually say, you know what, I have a lot of value and I have a lot to put out there and help my neighbors and help humanity. Because I think, coming into medicine for me was an ethical move. I really wanted to help people. And yes, as I was telling before, medicine has this time and place. But preventive medicine is superior to any other medicine, and we have that power within ourselves by the choices, the choices we make, by the choices we make, starting with our food. And going back to, I digressed a little bit, to the why I didn't feel competent or capable of spreading this message. Maybe because of the diet wasn't, something that was helping me at the moment. But now with the raw foods, I just feel so enlightened. And I feel an authority in this arena.
That's amazing.
You know why? Because I went through all these different fake diets and phases in my life. I've been a minority, I'm a woman, I'm Latin, I'm Mexican, I have an accent, I'm brunette, all this, I don't know why it's like undesirable. I just feel amazing. I feel as a strength. I feel that's where my power comes from. I really like myself. That's what raw foods allows you to do.
Oh wow! Yeah,
Don't
so
you think?
powerful. Oh, amazing. Yeah, and Aurelie said it like the self-worth.
Exactly.
How we all have something to contribute uniquely in this world. We all have a fingerprint that is unique to us, and when we realize our worth and our value in the world, we really need to step out of our own way so we can help others, help the world. Raw food is a pathway to realizing how much we matter.
Exactly.
And when we realize how much we matter, we're going to take a stand. We're going to express our voice. We're going to get out of our own fear so that we can be of service. I have never experienced anything like it, like raw food. Raw food has given me permission to truly be of service. I see the pathway forward. I see my own stance. I see my message. It's been one of the greatest gifts of my entire life.
Mine too. And I don't know, but just being more into this movement and getting into it and being exposed has allowed me to meet wonderful people along my journey. Last week I was in Oregon and I met wonderful people out there, and that they've been in this raw living food movement for so long, more than me, and you can tell the wisdom that they radiate. You can tell. And I was very fortunate to spend my time with them, because I learned a lot. And I'm sorry, I'm sure they learn a lot from me, because we complement each other. Yeah, you taught me a lot of things just in these few minutes that we've been chatting, and I'm sure that probably you learned something from me. So it's just as Shane was saying, as service to the world, and definitely raw food expedites it.
Do you think that starting a raw vegan diet leads to discovering your self-worth, or do you think a strong sense of self-worth leads you to a raw vegan diet?
That's a good question. I think it's complementary, but I think having a sense of self-worth it happens in many people, even if they're carnivores, right? Because we see leadership and great personalities out there that are omnivores, that eat whatever. So those are exceptions. But I think I came across all these raw foodists, and to me, it seems like raw food is like a missing key that everyone should have access to develop that empowerment, I think. So it can happen both ways, but I think definitely raw food expedites it. And imagine these personalities that are not raw food is the potential once they turn into a raw foodist. I think that would be, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right.
Yeah, I think you went to see Tony Robbins, right,
Yes.
last week. And I think he was a raw foodist for a while.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
He was talking about, well, not at this, but I've heard him talk about how he has to eat mostly raw food
Okay.
to sustain his energy,
Yeah.
to travel all over the world, helping millions of people, speaking to millions of people. He hosts immersive 3-day events that are like 50-hour long, 12-hour day immersives. And to be at such a high performance level, he has to eat mostly raw food. And he talks about it. Yeah.
Amazing.
And he also talked about how he's overcoming mercury poison because he was eating fish years ago. He was eating mostly vegetables and fish, thinking that that was the right health choice, the health path. But he became toxic with mercury, and now he's dealing with like a severe mercury poisoning from fish. So
Yeah, everything is poison, especially meat. We were talking about sustainability. I don't think nowadays the meat in the grocery stores is safe from toxins. If you are, in the middle of nowhere and you have your own farm and your own land and you know what you're feeding your cows and chickens, and well, if you want to be a carnivore, but I'm sure that level of peace that you achieve living outside of this world is that common sense that you're gonna get naturally is not gonna allow you to kill your own animals. I think if you're it's just like a metaphor to say that meat is not safe, even if it's free range, cage, whatever, organic. I think the genes and the damage it has passed on to those chickens and cattle, it's there. I mean,
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only do we pass on our genetic weaknesses from a carnivore diet and a grain diet and cooked diet over thousands of years and generation after generation, we have dispositions to weaknesses and disease like weak kidneys and weak livers and things like that really lead to disease like degenerative diseases. But then, so the meat, these hybrid chickens, hybrid cows are going to have genetic weaknesses that are passed on as well, and then we're consuming that.
I don't even know what is the original source of those free-range chickens. You know, they will probably rescue chickens, and these rescue chickens were the chicken grandparents were probably, antibiotic burden. I don't know. You don't even know the source. So I wouldn't trust that. And it's just the especism that we were talking about. We don't need to kill inferior. Not because they're smaller, that means that they're inferior. Not because they don't have a language that we can understand, that doesn't mean that they're inferior. It doesn't make sense to me. I think raw foodism also makes you more compassionate. And makes you more aware of the pain that we inflict by doing that.
You know what I hear people always say that, well, plants have feelings too. Plants are living, and plants, when they're killed, that has a consequence too. But you know what I say to that? Is there's something called Essene fruitarianism, which the Essenes were a group of raw foodists and into fasting and spiritual devotion thousands and thousands of years ago. And their texts remain in the Vatican, and they've been translated. And they talk about how they eat only raw living foods that don't require the plant to be killed. So imagine humanity living as a species on this planet where nothing has to die for our food. Fruit can be picked off the trees. Nuts and seed can be picked from the plant, and the plant remains living. Even green vegetables can be picked and the plant remains perennial greens, like kale, for instance. Kale will continue to grow. It's a perennial. Even lettuces can be harvested and then will continue to grow. So no food actually needs to be killed. And things like root vegetables maybe aren't what we should be eating. Root
Maybe
vegetables
they're
like
survival
potatoes.
foods.
Survival food.
Right? Maybe they can grow in harsh weather. Maybe that's why many people in Europe survive with potatoes.
That's right. Yeah.
But
it is a survival food. We don't want to mistake thrival food for survival food,
exactly.
Right? Meat is a survival food. Potatoes are a survival food. But if we're truly going to thrive as human beings, it's high water content, high fiber foods. When we're talking, mangoes and pineapples and melons and berries and grapes, and all of these things have high water, high minerals, high nutrient density, high electrical activity. I mean, when we eat like living food like sprouts, it has electricity in it. It's got biophotons in it. All of this electrical activity feeds the electrical systems in our body, keeps us electrically active. We can't get parasites when we have a high electrical system in our body. And the raw foods keep us parasite free. They keep our metabolic function working, our cellular respiration, and
immune system.
The immune system. And what I've been learning about is the ionic pressure in the colon. If we don't have quick colon transit times, it backs up the pressure, and the pressure is what allows the fluids to exchange between the cells. The blood needs to go into the cell, and then the lymph system needs to take the waste out of the cell, and all this fluid exchange in our body is created through a natural gravity-fed ionic pressure system, and it all is related to our bowels and how quickly things move through. So if we're backed up through cooked foods and animal products, then we don't actually have the right exchange of the respiration through our cellular metabolism. So that's what I've been learning about recently, and it's absolutely fascinating.
Right.
And it's one of the keys to vibrant health, one of the absolute keys.
I totally agree with you. And that comes along with the intermittent fasting, or fasting in general. I think it's a great way of healing. If you give the internal linings of your intestine a rest for some period of time, you actually get this flow that you were referring to. Because yes, that's probably the answer why overweight people or good looking people are anemic. That's why probably they get vitamin deficient, maybe because they're constipated and they don't allow the flow of things to get absorbed in that direction. It's just imagine like a tube hose with water. If you keep the water, the hose full of water all the time, a lot of pressure, imagine water trying to, I don't know, probably it's a bad analogy, but I guess
it backs up. It backs up in our body.
Yes.
It's like the sewer system in our house. You want that when you flush the toilet or you run the sink, you need that to flow out through the sewer system. But if it's backed up, the sewer is going to come up into the house and make the house dirty.
Thank you. Yeah,
right?
That's what I was trying to explain.
Yeah.
Yes. And that I experienced that with myself as well. One of the things is that sometimes you think that you're hungry and you actually are thirsty. Maybe you just need more water to keep that flow going. Maybe you have the nutrients in your intestines and probably they need a little bit of help through the water.
Right.
But that is not a problem when you eat raw living foods, which are by nature rich in water, rich in minerals, rich in that electricity. Because at the end of the day, calories is just energy. Food is just energy. So let your food be the most pure, clean, efficient energetic source as possible. Get your food from the best sources. The best fuel is fruits and vegetables. Here and there, leafy greens, nuts and seeds, and that's it.
Yeah. The food that God makes.
Yes. I posted on Instagram this morning, my most recent post is an apple and has some striations from the sun, kind of like a little draws in the skin, and it looks plump, it looks beautiful. And I always thought about your videos, and it really resonates in me to say that our food is cooked by the sun. That's an amazing statement.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
I love that. I got that from Aris Latham, who's like a long-time raw foodist, like a Jamaican guy.
Okay.
So, and he says that.
Oh, that's
his business is called the Sun-Fired Foods. That's what he coined as his business name, Sun-Fired Foods. And I heard him say once that raw fruits and vegetables are baked to perfection in the sun.
I agree.
That's like so awesome. I love that.
It's very easy to actually talk about all the benefits, but probably why don't we talk about the cons or the bad side of transitioning into raw food? What was your experience?
The bad side of transitioning to 100% raw vegan diet was...
I'll just bring my juice because I'm feeling hungry.
She's on a juice fast right now, or juice cleansing, right?
Yes.
So she had brought her juice with her today, which is awesome. Yay for that.
Cheers.
Total health.
It's
right there.
actually recycling this bottled water or juice bottle that I got, but it's my own juice. I didn't buy this, just in
Nice.
case.
Made it home.
Made it home.
That's the way to do it.
Yes. Okay.
I would say what sucks is hard digestion, gas, bad, like discomfort in, like, man, I had some months where I was really uncomfortable. I'd eat like a salad at night for dinner and I would be like, oh, uncomfortable. But I pushed through it. I mean, gas and bloating and discomfort in the digestion. That's the
Right.
number one downside, I would say, right there, because people want to feel comfortable. People don't want to have gas and bloating, but it's just a temporary thing you have to get over. It passed for me, totally passed. But it was pretty horrible. And maybe the other major thing I would say is like socially, how do you do a raw vegan diet socially? You can't go out to restaurants, you can't go to weddings, you can't go to parties, you can't go out with friends. I don't drink alcohol, I don't drink caffeine, I don't drink coffee. I mean, there's like no way to be social, right? So
Right.
that's a big hurdle to overcome in finding our place in the world, redefining ourselves in the world as a raw vegan.
I think everybody struggles with that, especially the social aspect. For me, being a trainee here in the medical system, advancing in my education, it's very demanding, and I have to prepare ahead of time. So for me, probably will be preparing everything overnight and have everything ready next morning. But if you want to do it, you just find a way. You just find a way. And another thing is having food available for you. At the beginning, it was difficult. I was spending a lot of money because if you buy a banana in the store, it's probably $1.50, something like that. And if you buy in your local groceries or your farmer's market, or like a case of ripe bananas that nobody wants, probably that will be a $5 for 40 or 50 bananas. So you know the difference. You just do the math. So I think for me, I want to stress that preparation is key, and was a struggle for me at the beginning, not having available food all the time. You need to prepare. You need to prioritize this lifestyle to make it work.
Yeah.
You need to plan out beforehand, like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna go and do this. Do I have everything I need to not succumb into the temptation of buying something else, especially the first months? I don't know from where I heard this, but some people that are raw food long term, they actually prefer to fast instead of eating cooked food if they are running out of their own food.
Exactly. Yeah, I would do the same personally. If I was traveling or something and I didn't have access to raw food, I'd probably just fast.
Right.
I've experimented with fasting enough now to where I'm okay with it. Like,
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. For me, it was kind of like a desperation for me, and that was one of the how I fell off the wagon when trying to be 100% raw, not being prepared, and I was so hungry and desperate that I was grumpy and I needed something to eat. So I just, okay, whatever, let's have some steamed vegetables at Panda Express or something like that, and
Yeah.
it was not entirely raw, but I was reading the ingredients, right after, and I was like, wow, it has a lot of, I think it has high, what's the name, fructose, what's high,
Yeah.
corn,
Fructose corn syrup?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It has that.
In
And
the vegetables at Panda
yeah,
Express?
yeah.
Crazy. And
And
probably
salt.
MSG.
All the
Yeah.
even the steamed vegetables. So there's nothing like having your own food, and hopefully there's more people. I was telling Shane that opens restaurants up with raw foods only, grocery stores with raw foods, fruit cocktails, more jamba juices, all these things, so we can have a social life.
That's right. The more raw vegans there are in the world,
Yeah.
the more easily raw vegans can adapt to the social environments of the world. So really, that's why we're on this
Yes.
video, is to help inspire others to get on the raw food lifestyle so that we can really get on with our evolution, so humanity can really step into the next version of our destiny.
Yes.
And to be healthy, happy, thriving species on planet Earth, the steward of all life on Earth, not destruction, not violence, not poverty and slavery, but empowered, healthy, vital species that thrives here. And that's going to include more raw food restaurants and environments where we can all thrive. More gardens, more community gardens, you know?
Yes.
That's what I see. Like every city could have fruit orchards and community gardens for everyone to partake in. I mean, man, if we all planted fruit trees everywhere, we'd all be eating abundantly for free.
That's one of the points that I want to stress. Many people have this to-do list for their life, like you should write a book, you should, I don't know, have a family. But one of our to-do lists that is a must is to plant a fruit tree. Imagine, like, that fruit tree is gonna survive for hundreds of years, and it's gonna feed your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors' children. And if everybody does that, imagine how powerful.
Yeah.
It's not only just for purification of the air, and you know, the trees not only give us oxygen but give us the food. Yeah, I agree totally with that.
Somebody who I follow, Brian Clement, who runs the Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida. It's a raw food institute that cures cancer and catastrophic disease with raw food. He tells the story about how the Native Americans would watch the white man fence off their gardens, and then when the crops failed that year, they'd be burying their children and burying their elderly from starvation, while the Native Americans would be picking the food right off the trees. The white man mentality was that it's confined, compartmentalized, and limited. It's a lack mentality, it's a lack belief. But really that the abundance of Mother Nature provides everything we need at all times, and there is never a reason to starve or go without or have anything less than complete total abundance for humanity. And it's built into the fabric and the nature of reality and the natural laws all around us. We just have to align with natural law, learn the subtleties of how we maneuver these laws, and we will have complete total abundance on planet Earth. Poverty is a lack mentality consciousness. It is a delusion. It's not real. It's like a dream.
Yes.
It's like a dream. We're having a bad dream, and we can wake up to the total abundance that is our birthright. And raw food is one of those birthrights. It's one of the natural laws of the universe that provides abundance for who we are.
Amazing. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I don't know, I mean, as you can see, raw foods is not only beneficial at the physical level. I mean, I think I'm getting at the way that I really wanted in my life. I was overweight all my adolescence and early adulthood, and now I'm like finally shedding off the layers, not only the weight but also these limiting beliefs. Now I can, you know, feel like I can speak to you like just like this. I don't have much makeup, this is who I am, and I feel confident in myself. I think we don't need anything else other than being our authentic selves, and that way your life is gonna be so bright that you don't need any external things that help you actually shining that way, because it's in you. So yeah, I mean, it's just not only physical, not only beauty, vanity, way of living, but I guess it's like the awakening, the thriving of humanity, and all these benefits that only coming from a living food you will attain, I guess, or I think.
Yeah.
I believe and I experience that. That's why I kind of emphasize it longer, and that's why I created my YouTube channel, because I want to inspire people. I want them to be empowered, and there is no quickest way to do that other than actually, you know, being in the flow of energy that we are supposed to live in.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're in flow right now, speaking to each other and speaking into this camera, which is viewers, which we don't know because it's just a camera, but we're in this flow.
Yes.
Both of us can feel it, and you know, props to Aurelie here for instigating this meeting and calling the call to action for us to mastermind together and speak on this topic, because I feel it. She's an inspiring person.
Thank you.
So much power and so much wisdom in this person right here. I'm totally.
Oh, you too. I can tell the same thing. Yeah, definitely. I mean, who will drive, you know, 1 hour and then meet a guy that you've never seen in your life? Well, I've seen him in his videos, but it's just that, you know, when the people are in tune with the energy that comes from raw living foods, and not only the energy from the foods, but just the mentality and your spiritual being. You can tell. I mean, I was not afraid. I was not. We were meeting in a public space. You know, it's Shane. It's kind of like, yeah, he's my people.
Oh, yeah, I feel the same
Yeah.
way. Like
Yeah.
being able to connect with like-minded souls on a unified mission for helping awaken humanity through personal healing, through taking on the responsibility of healing the individual cell in the organism of humanity is so noticeable, and it's so powerful. You notice when someone is shining that light like that, and we've noticed it in each other, which is why we're on this video together. And you can be that too. You can step on to a raw food journey and join this tribe of the light workers, the way showers, the light bearers, the people that bring light and hope to the world.
Yes. I was telling in my Spanish video that I came into medicine to help people. I think preventive medicine, a plant-based diet, a raw food diet is crucial for this mission of mine. And I think that, I don't know, I think part of my mission is in life is actually helping people. I'm a pathologist. I see diseases through the microscope. And I'm tired of seeing diseases. I get excited looking at them. They look pretty. You can Google any pathology image in your browser and you will see how pretty it looks. It's like more like a architectural patterns that we look and we make diagnosis. But I'm tired of seeing that, not because I don't enjoy it. I actually want to grow in pathology. I'm a pathologist. I love it. It's one of the best fields in medicine, if you ask me. But my mission in life, besides having a career, my mission and my passion in life, why I came into medicine is to help people heal. And I found a way, I think, and I just want to share it. I cannot be quiet about it. I just can't.
Yeah.
Because I feel I have the authority.
Yay, the authority.
I have the authority. I have the medical knowledge. I have my own experience. I've seen anecdotal evidence of all this raw food that's out there. And I'm my own guinea pig, right? I'm my own experiment. And if it wasn't safe, I mean, I'm almost a year-old raw foodist. I would like to do a test, a blood test, and see how am I doing.
Nice.
I think
wanna
I'm
do the
doing
same.
good.
Yeah, I haven't done a blood test 1 year in on a raw food diet for me, but I know I'm doing good, and I'd do a blood test any day of the week. Although I don't like the medical, I don't like the allopathic medicine. I wouldn't go get a blood test to like have them advise me. It would just be to prove that I have everything I need from my raw vegan diet.
And it's because your intestines are clean, because you are absorbing everything you need from the raw foods. And yeah.
Your mission is great, and you stated your mission directly to this audience listening. If anyone's here on this video at this moment, you heard Aurelie mission in life, and that is powerful. And I want to share my mission. My mission is to help humanity awaken to a vision for our future, a vision for stepping into a new way that we can act and be on this planet that incorporates a light consciousness, like a Christ consciousness, it could be called, like where we have activated pranic energy in our body, kundalini energy it's called as well. Activated, awake, spiritually connected, lit up by life, and in a state that is harmonious and in balance. I see this vision for humanity. I've seen it my whole life, and I believe that I've found the way to get there, and that is raw food. And that's why I have the authority to speak on raw food, because I know that it can bring humanity together in that direction of awakening, planetary awakening. And I've had this vision my entire life as a kid. And now as an adult man, this is how I communicate it. These words I'm using are how I can communicate the vision I've held my entire life. We need to identify with a future-focused vision, and not the vision of the past, not the memories of the past. We don't want to identify with the pain of the past and avoid the fears of what the future might be, but identify with a future vision for ourselves. And we can all do that through practice, and especially through the devotional practice of a raw food diet. And that is my mission.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think we're on the same mission, and I guess we need more voices and more light workers, as you were saying. So yeah, we exhort you to step in and join us.
Yeah.
Because it's like we can't do it alone, and the more people, the better. I just feel like anybody can do it, and actually it's our goal that to bring more people into the movement. We don't have an agenda. I mean, my agenda is to see people happy and thriving and healthy. And yeah, I resonate totally with what you were saying. That's just part of the equation to I don't know, the empowering of the whole humanity. And yeah, that's
right.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're almost an hour talking.
Probably.
So,
This is a long video. We've had so much to say. You can see how inspired we both are to talk.
yes.
So maybe we can call it done
Yeah.
at that. We've both stated our missions. We've explained why we believe in a 100% raw vegan diet as an empowering vision for humanity and a beautiful step forward for anyone wanting health and empowerment in their life. So blessings to you all. Thank you so much for being here on this video.
Thank you so much, guys, and subscribe to our channels.
Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channels. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment.
Yes.
Thanks for being part of the conversation.
Yes, please.
And we'll see you in the next video.
See you guys. Peace.